My name is Myra Winters. I'm 72. The day before we read my husband's will, his lawyer called me at 7 in the morning. Mrs. Winters, there's a second document your stepson doesn't know about. Come to my office alone tomorrow. Tell no one where you're going. I sat at the oak table Douglas built for our first anniversary and listened. I didn't cry. I wrote down the address and poured myself a second cup of coffee. What I found in that envelope rewrote 24 years of silence. What happened at the will reading, in a room of 12 people, including the woman who told Facebook I was just some woman who showed up 20 years late. That's the part I still can't believe I lived through. I met Douglas at the county clerk's office 24 years ago. He looked at my hands and said, "You have the steadiest hands I've ever seen." I was 48, he was 50. Both of us had buried a spouse. We married at the courthouse 3 months later. He spent our first anniversary building me that table, white oak, sanded for 3 weekends, our initials carved underneath. Douglas had 2 children, Bryce, 46, a contractor who'd borrowed $120,000 from his father over the years and never paid back a dollar, and Nora, 42, an accountant who in 24 years never once called me mom. Then Douglas got lung cancer. 18 months, the doctor said. He lasted 14. During those months, Bryce started helping with the finances, opening Douglas's mail, calling the bank. Nora photocopied documents from his filing cabinet when she thought I wasn't watching. One night near the end, Douglas grabbed my wrist. "Don't let them take the house, Myra. Promise me." I promised. I didn't understand why he was so specific about the house. Douglas passed on a Tuesday morning. Bryce arrived 2 hours later, looked at his father's face, then at me. "We need to talk about the arrangements." Not, "I'm sorry." Arrangements. At the reception, Bryce's wife Jolene cornered me in the kitchen. "We need to talk about the house situation. Bryce is the eldest son." "Douglas isn't even cold yet, Jolene. I'm just being practical," she said, and smiled. That night, washing cups, I found her bag behind the coat rack, a folder with real estate comparisons for the farmhouse. Estimated value, $1.6 million. 3 days later, Jolene posted in the family Facebook group, "Our father-in-law's legacy belongs to his children, not some woman who showed up 20 years late." 47 likes. People I'd hosted Christmas dinner for 2 decades clicked like and moved on. My friend Betty called, furious on my behalf. "Myra, you can't just sit there. I've been sitting here for 24 years. A few more weeks won't kill me." The pressure came from 3 directions. Bryce's attorney demanded a voluntary transfer of the farmhouse. Nora texted, "It would mean a lot if the house stayed in the family, the real family." Jolene circulated a petition at a barbecue I wasn't invited to. 23 signatures, posted with the caption, "The family has spoken." Then my phone rang. "Mrs. Winters, my name is Raymond Sloan. I was your husband's private attorney." I'd never heard the name. "Your husband came to see me 8 months ago alone. There's a second document your stepson doesn't know about." I drove to his office before sunrise. He placed a sealed envelope on the desk. 3 items: a property deed, a codicil, a sealed letter to be opened at the will reading, in front of everyone. He unfolded the deed. County seal, the name, Myra Campbell Winters. "The farmhouse and 40 acres are titled to you. Purchased 19 years ago at a county tax auction. This was never part of your husband's estate." "I know," I said. "I was the one who bought it." 19 years ago, Douglas's business partner skimmed invoices and left them $300,000 in debt. The bank foreclosed. Auction in 60 days. I went to the bank alone with $178,000, 28 years of a county clerk's salary, plus my first husband's life insurance. I won the auction. I filed the deed myself in my own name, knowing exactly how to keep it out of a casual title search. Douglas cried. The only time I ever saw it. "Don't tell the kids. If they know I lost everything, they'll never respect me again." So I didn't. I kept that promise for 19 years. Sloan picked up the second document. The codicil, signed 8 months before he died with an independent capacity assessment. He read the clause. Any beneficiary who, within 6 months of my passing, harasses, threatens, or attempts to seize the property of my wife shall forfeit their share. Said share shall be redirected to education trusts for my grandchildren, with Myra Winters as sole trustee. Even from the grave, Douglas was building a wall between his children's greed and the woman he loved. I drove home to find Bryce's truck in the driveway, and Jolene inside holding fabric swatches against my curtains. Just getting ideas. For when we settle in, 4 days before the will reading, Bryce held a family meeting in my own kitchen without asking. 8 people. Myra's been here a long time. It's time to let the real family handle things. Jolene leaning against the counter I scrubbed every morning. Our father-in-law's legacy belongs to his children, not some woman who showed up 20 years late. The will reading is Thursday, I said. We'll see. That afternoon in Douglas's workshop, in the 3rd drawer behind the sandpaper exactly where Sloane said it would be, I found a cedar box. Our wedding rings, a photograph from the day I filed the deed, a note in his blocky handwriting. You saved this family once. Now I'm saving you. D. Thursday morning, the conference room. 12 people. Sloane read the original will. The house to be sold, 50% to me, 30 to Bryce, 20 to Nora. Jolene squeezed Bryce's hand. The script they'd rehearsed. Then Sloane paused. However, there is an addendum. He read the morality clause aloud. That can't be legal, Jolene snapped. He was dying. The codicil includes a capacity assessment, Sloane said. He was lucid and completed it without assistance. Then he laid the deed flat on the table. The farmhouse is titled to Myra Campbell Winters, filed 19 years ago, never part of the estate. I have never heard a room go as silent as that one. That's not possible, Bryce said. Dad built that house. Your father built it, I said, my first words in 20 minutes. And I saved it. I told them everything, the bankruptcy, the auction, the promise. Gerald, who had signed the petition, pushed back from the table. We didn't know, Myra. No, I said. You didn't. Sloane read Douglas's final letter aloud. Myra saved this family once. She used every cent she had to buy the house I lost. The house was never mine to give. It's always been hers. I'm sorry you carried this alone. You deserved better than silence. One tear rolled down my cheek. That's all. The shares allocated to Bryce and Nora, roughly $420,000, were redirected into education trusts for their children, with me as sole trustee. Why didn't you just tell us? Bryce asked, standing. Because your father asked me not to. He walked out without looking back. Nora stayed. I photocopied those documents. I was going to use them against the will. I know. He knew too. He hoped you wouldn't. She put her face in her hands and cried, the way people cry when they've seen exactly who they chose to be. A month later, Jolene's post was gone. Gerald sent a card. 2 cousins sent flowers with a note. We should have asked. Bryce never called. But Nora calls every Sunday now. The 4th Sunday, she called me something she hadn't called me in 24 years. She called me Mom. I rehung our wedding photo on the mantel. It's still there, face up where it belongs. I sit at the oak table most mornings, 40 acres of silence and 1 cedar box on the shelf above the stove. Sometimes the quietest person at the table is the one who built it.